Welcome to the Mortgage and Mindset in Minutes podcast, and I'm your host, Tiffany Rose, where you'll get a little on mortgage and a lot on mindset.
All right. So Tiffany, it said recorded starting on your side, right? Plus we got a little timer. So I know we're
good. It says live 11 seconds. So I think you're okay.
So I know you and I recorded yesterday, and it's always so funny how we all get do-overs in life, right? And you get so bummed. You're like, oh my gosh, don't tell me I have to do that all over again. And then you find yourself doing it again and you go, oh, I'm glad I got to do that all over again, because, you know, it's even better the second time or third time. In our case, the third time. Absolutely. Anyway, so thank you for joining me on Elevate Your Thoughts. You and I have had a lot of conversations, and I'm super excited for the audience to hear from you. But introduce the audience to yourself in the way that you would like to be introduced.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for having me again. Doing this again. Take two. So
Take two.
The only way you fail is if you stop, right? So I am Tiffany Rose, and I work at Guild Mortgage. I've been there 5 years, but I've been in this business forever. Went to college for 4 days and decided I wanted to make money. Then I realized, okay, it's more about the impact and the positivity than the money. And I'm also doing Tiffany Rose coaching and empowering loan officers with purpose and process, and teaching them attracting instead of chasing business. You know, in any line of work, you know, lending business is no different. You just have to market yourself and provide value and attract that business instead of, you know, doing all the calling and things. So I really want to empower my fellow loan originators, because this industry is suffering in some ways right now. And I've found ways to work through it. And so I want to help my clients and make impact on them, but really help on an even broader scale. Because for every lender I teach, they teach their, you know, they bring that into their business with homeowners, and it just keeps growing and growing. It's really a great thing. So that's me.
Well, I love that you have just really pausing your business to put a plan together to help others really learn what it's like to be intentional about how they are business planning, be intentional about their marketing, be intentional about the value that they're providing people so that they attract the kind of people they want to work with. And the people that you like to work with is maybe totally different than the people I like to work with. And there's just really enough business to go around for everybody. So I love it. I love that you're doing that, because I know that you could just be pouring your heart and soul into your own business, but the fact that you are doing this to make impact for others is how we light up the world, right?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. So, you know, when we were talking before, we were talking about how people really get stuck on their limiting beliefs. Like, and I know for me, for years, and it doesn't matter what line of work you're in. My daughter she's an entrepreneur, and she has what started off as a candle business, and now is it's a darling little shop in a small little town where she highlights female entrepreneurs, makers.
Yeah.
But, you know, for a long, long time, it was all about, okay, Alex, how many candles do you need to make? How much do you need to make on each candle in order to pay your bills? And, you know, I've got another daughter who is in a pool cleaning service. So it was always about the numbers, and really reversing into what do I need to make in order for me to hit my goals? And the goals were all about numbers, right? Same thing with my son-in-law, who's got a gym. He owns a gym in town, and it's all about the numbers. So I understand the importance of knowing your numbers, and I understand the importance of, you got bills to pay and you've got people to pay. But let's talk about limiting beliefs from that standpoint, how regardless of what business you're in, the numbers can really limit your success because of limitations that you're putting on yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So there's actually a book called Prosperity Consciousness. So everybody should listen to that book.
Prosperity Consciousness.
Yes, I've listened to it 3 times, and every time I listen to it, I catch something. But when you talk about numbers and limiting beliefs, so he talks about and I'll bring it into lending just because that's what I do. But
Okay, yeah.
if $1 million a year sounds too much for you, it's like, how could I ever make $1 million? That's your limiting belief. That's your money block that you're putting on there because maybe your parents didn't make that kind of money, or maybe you've never made that kind of money. You don't think it's possible. So when you break it down in smaller increments that you can handle, so you can break it down to 88,000. Well, that still sounds like too much a month. Then you break it down into weekly, daily. How much do I have to make a day? Okay, how much is my average commission? All right, like our loan amounts are 500,000 roughly in California where I'm at. So I get my average commission. And then I reverse engineer it. How many people do I have to talk to? How many leads? What's my conversion rate? What kind of impact? How much do I have to market on social media to make that impact and bring in that business? When you start reverse engineering and breaking down the numbers in a consciousness that we can handle, your limiting beliefs start going away. So it's a really, really cool thing. And when you think about it, I did something. I think my branch thinks I'm crazy sometimes because I just and they're like, what did she just rattle off? Because I talk fast and that's what I do. But at the leadership summit at Guild, they were talking about the Fabergé organics in one of the breakout sessions. It was like, I told 2 people and they told 2 people and they told 2 people. If you really understand that in sales, in any business, you already know everybody you need to know. And that ripple effect can grow. You don't have to go chase new people. You just go deeper and make more impact in the people that are within your sphere of influence. If you start doing the numbers on that, it's pretty wild. If you think, all right, I have a client, I'm going to do a great job for them. They're going to be my new best friend. They're going to give me 7 people. Every client in a lifetime should give you at least 7 people. You start working the math on that. We all should be making $2-3 million a year, but we don't think it's possible because our limiting beliefs think, oh, this person's not going to give me 7 referrals. Why not? If you go comment on the social media consistently and authentically, love them and show them love, then you're going to get the business back and it's going to be a lifetime relationship and the numbers just fly from there. So cold calling, bye. If that's what you love to do. Someone spoke on stage at one of our summits that he loves to cold call. I'm like, hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Always be when you're not taking action or when you're procrastinating and we don't feel supported, which kind of want to talk about that, we talked about yesterday a little bit. All those things, it's just our belief system. You can have all the systems in the world and you can say all the dreams you want, but you can't do it if your mind's not right. So Sia has a quote in the Lullaby song that's, when you wish upon a star, do the work and you'll go far. And I want to get it like I have a space right here. I got some tattoos, but I want it written right here on my arm because it is such a beautiful reminder when I talk to people. If I'm having drinks, at the bar or something, the bartender, we're chatting, they're like, what are you doing? Because I always go to the bar and I like, or, nice restaurant or whatever. I'll hit the bars all the time. But and I work and the bartender like, what are you doing over there? I see you here, often. And they'll say, I want to do that one day, and the coach part of me, I'm like, I need to coach them. Stop saying, so what action are you taking right now? What belief systems are you working with to know that that's actually going to happen? When you say, I want this someday, how are you going to get it? What are you doing right now in the present to make that happen? So the mind is so powerful.
This mind is so powerful. If you think it, you can do it.
Yes.
I mean, it's just absolutely, but, and the other thing that we were talking about is the importance of, you're talking about limiting beliefs and for those that don't understand what we're talking about, it's the belief systems, but your limiting beliefs, a lot of times it goes back to childhood. So whether you feel like you're unworthy of these things because of things that happened in your childhood or, for a long, long time, I know for me, I would feel like you would have all these superstitions and it still came, but for me, it came down to worthiness or that whatever I did wasn't ever going to be good enough because I had a perfectionist dad that I grew up with. So it didn't matter what I did. It still was like, well, you could still do better. Well, you could still do better. Oh, well, I got an A+. Yeah, but you could still do better. So it's just that whole people pleasing side of me where I didn't think that I ever was going to get to, because you can always do better. I would get close to a goal. And as soon as I get close to a goal, I'd move the goal up because you could always do better. But that started from childhood.
Yes. It's everything that we have is usually from 0 to 7 years old.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's even in the womb, and we won't get into chakras and all that stuff that you share with your mother when you're in the womb. And I've done
Mhm.
some crazy meditations that have shown me things that I'm like, whoa, I didn't even know where that came from. And now I
Mhm.
understand.
Now you get it. Yeah.
I had the limiting belief that other people won't support me. So my dad would promise me the tree house, or if my grandpa couldn't make it to Christmas because whatever the case was, he'd put like a piece of magazine, like an electric car, and put it in a box, and we'd open it. We're like, when are we getting it? When are we getting it? And it was
Mhm.
like let down after let down. And I get the intention was to make us happy, make us feel loved by our
Mhm.
grandpa, or he was excited
Mhm.
about something. But number one, it's all about the follow through in anything in life. So don't do that to your kids, because if you're not going to follow through,
Do what you say you're going to do.
yeah, all you're going to do is you're going to somehow, along the way, when me and my sister were talking about, oh, our 2-story treehouse, we're going to have friends over and bring our sleeping bags. And when we looked at this empty grass area with no pool, no nothing, anything that was promised, I had the belief system that if I wanted something, I had to go get it myself, and that people let me down and they don't support me. It was a blessing because I got my house that I'm in now. I'm a real estate investor. I'm, overachiever, like to boot. It's crazy what burdens I put on myself to get what I want. It's a beautiful thing, but it's also a curse in some ways, because when you're not aware of that subconscious behavior and what you
Mhm.
attract, I was
Mhm.
attracting people, and prior to going to Guild, I was attracting assistants and loan officer assistants that I was almost like waiting for them to mess up, because it would validate that belief system that, see, I got to do it myself. If I want something done, I got to do it myself. Well, when you want to make millions of dollars a year, or let's just say, create a 6-figure income, you can't do it alone. You've got to
Mhm.
have other people. And this world is
Mhm.
community. We're all connected. You shouldn't do things alone, right? So once I understood that, someone that was coached by pointed that out to me. I changed things around,
Mhm.
and I started attracting mentors that supported me building a team. I got Bob, my branch
Oh,
manager now, who's the most amazing
amazing.
mentor I've ever.
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, Tiff, you need a team. That's why you're not making your goals. And I felt like, oh my gosh, finally someone understands me. And he
Mhm.
helped me recruit the people, because then it was his energy, and he
Mhm.
doesn't have those belief systems that he's not
Mhm.
supported. So he was pulling in people that could support me. And it was just a really, really cool thing. So when you realize what happened to you, and it's not to have a pity party, it's to,
No, and it's not even to place blame because I know our parents did the best they could with what they had to work with.
yes, my kids go, Mom, I never want to hear 401k or appraiser, or because they've grown up with me talking to my clients in the car, which I had to put a stop to it, because when they said that, it hurt my heart. And I don't even remember what client I was talking to, but I'm putting limiting beliefs on them that you have to work hard. Life is chaotic. Life is busy. And
Yeah,
I had,
you can't turn it off and that work is first. Yeah.
yeah. And, then you attract people that want to time suck. And then when you answer the phone on Saturdays, it's more convenient for them to call you on a Saturday, because now they think that they can get you at those times. And the ones that say, I'm sorry for calling you on a weekend, but watch out, because those are the ones that they just say that to make themselves feel better, but they will continue to do it. So you
Right.
have to draw the line in the sand. But that made me feel bad, because I don't want to put things on my kids. However, I was doing the best I can with what I've got.
Mhm.
And I was doing what I needed to do to provide a home, and the swimming pool that I never had, and the pool house, and the parties. I mean, our house is the summer house for my kids, and they
Mhm.
wouldn't have that if I didn't do certain things at the time of when I did what I thought I needed to be doing. Now
Yeah, right.
I have
Yeah,
more business, and I don't work on weekends or after 6 o'clock, but I only worked with what I knew. So to your point about the parenting,
yeah.
that's you
Yeah, we
can't.
all do the best that we can, and but still, and we have limiting beliefs from when we were children. Our children have limiting beliefs that are likely different than what our limiting beliefs are because we observe and we correct it or change the way that we live our life and the way we parent. But they've got their own set of limiting beliefs. So I think that it's just really important that we all pause and reflect and recognize what is limiting. What belief system do I have within, deep within, that is keeping me from reaching my full potential?
Yes. And I tell my kids, I think the most important thing is communication. Nobody ever said, I'm sorry for doing X, Y, and Z, or I didn't make it to your birthday party, or there wasn't a lot of communication. Everything was just kind of swept under the rug. So with my kids, I go, all right, what's the childhood scar going to be? Did I not teach you to, let's just call it out now in the present. So you don't say, I didn't read you enough books. I didn't teach you how to do your makeup, or I didn't show up to enough things. Let's just call it out, because it's the communicating. And sometimes they will say, Mom, yeah, I need you to blah, blah, blah. Or I never have my own brush, right? I mean, like little things that you don't know that
Mhm.
could make an impact on a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old or whatever it is. So now we kind of make jokes about it, but it's so healthy and it's important to talk about it. And I'm by no means perfect, but I'm doing the
Right.
best I can in this life, like we all are.
Yes. I think that that's what's really important, and having those conversations with our kids. I'm 53 years old this year. And so, these are just conversations my parents didn't normally have. But I think that more and more people are understanding the importance of our thoughts and the importance of having those conversations, and coming from a place of observation and not judgment of those thoughts, and adjusting those thoughts is I'm thankful that we're seeing more of that, and that's part of the conversation now. And it applies to business as much as it does to life.
Yeah, it kills me when people think they go to church on a Sunday and then they go to work and they're like a tyrant. I mean, there's a game that I went to this thing, it was called Accelerate. I don't even know if it's still around, but they took people in a room and a week course. We paid like $1,000 for the week. They separated us in 2 different rooms and they said, all right, the coaches are going to stand around and they're going to take notes on the game. And you have to guess what there's black and white cards. Guess what card color the other team is going to do. Everyone was interacting and I saw people bullying each other. This one lady was like, I don't think there's a point to the game. And I was like, I don't care. This isn't making me money. I don't understand. We all were getting so different dynamics and reactions. The point of the game was those people around note-taking was to see how we interact, because how you show up with your kids, with your clients, in your relationship, it's all the same. So he pulled the people that were bullying. He said, you guys go sit in a corner. You should be ashamed of yourself. And he brought this woman up on stage and she was crying. And he said, I heard you say, don't think that this is the point to the game is guessing the card color. It's about how we're interacting, but no one was listening to her. And she said, no one listens to me at home. My kids steamroll over me. And she was bawling. I could cry thinking about it because it was so impactful to my heart.
Bills, yeah.
Yeah, and she said, my husband steamrolls over me. I know I'm a good person. I know him, but nobody listens to me. And that's exactly what was happening to her in the game. And so it was like, how do you change that, right? So that game was so impactful to me. And I'm glad that we're talking about it and sharing it, because how you show up in anything, business or whatever, it's all the same.
Yeah, because it's. I mean, your mind is the same regardless of where you are. I mean,
Yeah.
I try and we're going to have to continue this conversation and just record another episode.
Yeah.
But as we wrap up, there's just so many things that we have talked about in our conversations. But I think, how would you like to wrap this conversation up? I'll let you wrap this up.
Yeah, thank you. I know I talk so fast, right? I could talk a mile a minute, but I love talking about this stuff. It really is my purpose and my passion. But really, knowing your worth and knowing how powerful you are. TikTok, Instagram, it's dangerous because it's a beautiful thing. Trust me, I teach the power of social media and what you can do to make an impact on one-to-many instead of one-to-one. But it can be dangerous when you start copying and you start wanting to be like other people and you lose yourself. You are here for a reason and you are so powerful. And, whatever you have to do, journal about it, ask 10 of your friends to text you how you've impacted them. That's where your worth is. And that's where your purpose is. You're just not able to sometimes see it, or we as a whole aren't able to see it. So know your worth and know how powerful you are. And you can move mountains. Where any money blocks or anything, money's not evil. We can help us make a bigger impact. And I just really want people to understand that we have a birthright to experience money.
That's a great way to end. And, I have for a long, long time felt guilty when I was successful financially. But when I look back, the more I make, the more I give.
Yes.
So if I make more money, I'm able to give more money and have more impact in my community. So
Yes.
you're absolutely right. You should not feel guilty when you're successful, because you'll do good things when
Yes.
you have that money. So
Yeah.
absolutely. And yes, you are enough as you are. You are worthy of all of the goodness. So thank you so much for being willing to record again,
Yeah.
since now we are recording this
Do it
time.
again tomorrow. Why not?
Same place, same time. And thank you, audience, for watching this episode of Elevate Your Thoughts. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, like the video, and be sure to share it with others, because this is how we have impact in our world, where this conversation needs to be heard more often. So thank you, Tiffany, and thank you, audience, for listening and being part of this amazing community.
Thank you.
I will get end
Still
recording
going.
here so that they, yeah.